people.
He's killing one of my ostriches.
He's got to hunt something.
That's rare.
This is a vegetarian colony.
Well, who said that? I don't know if they all
I'm
agree
God.
to that.
No.
You see this mouse? That's the mouse of God.
Were women pharaohs and in power in ancient Egypt? I hope so. And what was everyday life like living in Egypt? We are going to find out today on Won't You Be My Gamer. I'm Elise Willems.
I'm Nicole Zawalich.
And we're joined again by Annalise Bayer, who is an archaeologist, producer extraordinaire. Thanks so much. I thought after Tomb Raider we wouldn't see you again, Annalise, so this is great.
Yeah, no, I had to come back for Pharaoh.
Yes, that's right. We're playing Pharaoh. It is a city builder set in ancient Egypt, and we're going to build a city, and I think we're going to crush it.
Yeah.
But the good kind of crushing.
Yes.
Not the, will of the people.
No.
You have experience playing this game, right?
I played hours of this game, the original version, when I was in middle school and high school in the beginning.
In the beginning, so this is the pre-dynastic period.
Yeah.
350 or 3,500 to 3050 BC.
Ish.
Yeah, and then BCE is BCE.
Yeah, BC or BCE. Yeah. All dating systems are a construct. It literally doesn't matter. I use BC AD just to keep things visually straight in my mind because the timeline of human history is quite long. But if you're doing things like in an official capacity for like a publication, BCE and CE.
It's sort of like in Star Wars where like their time is like BY and like before the Battle of Yavin and then like after the Battle of Yavin.
I saw you online talking about, is it a mortuary tomb?
Yeah, mortuary temples, yeah.
So what is the difference between that and a regular temple or tomb? Because aren't they supposed to just kind of be a place to house someone's final resting place?
So that would be the tomb, and then the mortuary temple was where people could come and experience the magic and wonder of the memory of whoever that person was, usually a pharaoh. A normal person wouldn't have a mortuary temple, but these days, if you go to Egypt, all the mortuary temples you see will be for big-name pharaohs.
Victory, guys.
Yay!
We did our first mission, which was really to just build enough houses that people could live in and get water. Very small goal to start out. Let's see, Cody Bishop asks, how difficult was it to learn hieroglyphics?
It's actually not too difficult.
I speak emoji, so I feel like it's actually some parallels.
Sort of. I mean, it's just a different alphabet. And I think the thing that most people don't know, because it's not really communicated very well through popular ancient Egypt-themed things, is that the Middle Egyptian, the Egyptian language, isn't sort of a one-to-one sign for letter like our English alphabet is. Sometimes it can be a single letter or a single sound. Sometimes it can be a combination of things. Sometimes it can be a phrase. It all depends on what you're working with. But once you sort of get your head around what the basics are, it's pretty easy to get the basics down, especially when it comes to learning the hieroglyphs that tend to appear in a lot of very common formulas that you'll see in, monuments and tombs and stuff like that. It tends to be a lot of the same stuff over and over again. So once you know what you're looking for, you can figure out those phrases. And then it kind of gets a little bit like Mad Libs, where you'll have the formula, and then they'll leave you basically an option to, state your name and maybe the type of offering that you would like to give in the quantity to the deity of your choice forever and ever.
I like it.
It's fun. It's really fun. It's so cute. It's such an adorable language, and there's so many fun glyphs, and I like finding the really fun glyphs out in the wild when I'm in Egypt. So there's basket with legs.
Are there places where you can see yes, the Egyptians had a sense of humor?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. They had an amazing sense of humor. It was very dry. And
did the Brits steal that too?
No.
Nice. Cool. Got him.
When it comes to the history of comedy, clowns have always been very, very timeless. Comedy of error type things, or role reversals were super popular. That was a huge one, and that's something that we actually have artistic examples of. There's if you go to the Egyptian Museum, in one of the rooms they have a bunch of ostraca, which is essentially fragments of pottery or sometimes stone that have random writings, like ancient Post-it notes basically. And there's a doodle on one of them, and it's a joke essentially. It's like, an ancient Far Side cartoon, and it's a mouse being served a meal, or I think a beverage, by a cat, and it's funny because the cat is serving the mouse, and because usually it's the roles are the other way around. You get it?
The farthest
you get it?
side.
I mean, like peak ancient humor.
So on the subject of clowns, would a pharaoh have something like a jester?
Yeah. That's something that's been popular for like royalty.
Regardless of where you go.
Yeah, regardless of where you go, regardless of the time period, that's been like a weird holdover for everybody.
Did the later Egyptians think about preservation when it came to older artifacts and settlements and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, even within the time period of ancient Egyptian history, pharaohs would commission restoration projects of parts of, temples. So they could say that, Pharaoh of choice was so great and so wonderful. Like, I was the one who restored this temple that had been built by a different past pharaoh, and restored it to a wonderful, beautiful state and opened it for use again. So
cool.
like they were restoring their own history in that time window, because it's like 6,000 years of history.
Checking in on the game.
Yeah,
Nicole, you've got quite the civilization.
you got 1,000 people there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Looking at what Nicole has going here, are there certain elements that you think feel very authentic to the real Egyptian experience and history that we can add to our?
Yeah,
We've got an Egypt fact check.
Yeah. Mud brick houses, 100%.
Okay.
Ostriches, though.
Ostriches, yes, but further to the south, and those would have been an imported luxury good from Nubia directly to the south of them, and then the mysterious land of Punt, even further south, and the rest of Central Africa.
Okay, so
It's below that.
So their presence here is a little on the inaccurate side.
I mean, I don't think they would have been roaming the streets like they are in this particular city, but yeah.
As they are.
Yeah, I don't think folks living in and around like what's now modern day Luxor would have had ostriches running through the streets like that.
I do like it when they take the roads, though. It's like, oh, that's so polite of you.
Yeah. They're following the roads. But I mean, like, all the stuff that are the issues for the little cities that you build in this game were issues for real people.
He's killing one of my ostriches.
He's got to hunt something.
That's rare.
This is a vegetarian colony.
Well, who said that? I don't know if they all
I'm
agree
God.
to that.
No.
You see this mouse? That's the mouse of God.
Clicking from the heavens.
Yeah.
But no, like, access to water, access to clean water has always been a thing.
Vital.
Things catching on fire, also a constant problem and a constant hazard. The little doctors, wherever the little doctor hut is.
I haven't unlocked that yet.
Okay. Oh yeah, right, no physicians yet. Medicine in ancient Egypt is an amazing place to like go lose yourself in Wikipedia and like go on a research deep dive. Cause,
what are some of the most interesting facets of it?
Ancient Egyptian medicine was regarded as like the best medicine in the ancient world, to the point where the best, if you scoot down the timeline a little bit, the best doctor you could have was a Greek doctor who had been trained in Egypt / in the ancient Egyptian sort of medical tradition, working for you in Rome. So like that would be the best.
So some level of globalization happening there already.
Oh yeah. The ancient world was incredibly cosmopolitan and global and very well connected. But yeah, the ancient Egyptian medicine was like fully ahead of its time. They were so good about figuring things out to the point where with some of the medical papyri that we have, you can read what's in them, and you can match it up with illnesses and issues that we know of obviously today and have different names for. But they just recognized it through observable symptoms, but it matches it perfectly. And like, treatment for, wounds and stuff like that is like, yeah, that's pretty spot on.
That's awesome. So like they knew like you need to apply pressure to this wound. Like things like that they would have figured out.
Yeah.
Who are the women that had power in ancient Egypt?
The queens. The queens. So the pharaohs would usually have multiple wives. That was very normal. The chief wife, she would be who we would consider like the queen. and she would have a certain amount of very like special designated responsibilities with her role, and they did a lot. And then obviously we have a couple examples like Hatshepsut, of a lady who is like, I'm not just going to be the queen, I'm going to be the pharaoh.
Okay, yeah, tell us more about her, because that's who we're interested in.
Everybody loves Hatshepsut. She's so cool. She's so cool.
So was she married to a pharaoh that died, or
yes.
what? Okay.
Yeah. She was the wife of Thutmose II. He died. And she then was sort of ruling as a co-regent with her stepson, because he was a very small child. Obviously, you don't want to give like a 3-year-old ultimate power, because questionable decisions are going to get made. But eventually she ended up sort of claiming the throne in her own right, and not just being queen, but becoming pharaoh, and sort of fixing and changing things so that would actually work. We got a lot of monuments that she built. So they are there. They have continued to be there. Some needed to be put back together, but I mean, she certainly left her mark on the landscape, that she basically set up that dynasty, which was the 18th dynasty, for just success, until Tutankhamun and mostly his dad, Akhenaten, just tanked it all at the end. Spent all the money.
Yeah.
They changed religions or something in that time period too?
Akhenaten did. He did his best, and obviously being the pharaoh, everyone had to go along with it, because that's what the pharaoh says is happening. But yeah, he did change the religion from an entire pantheon of gods and goddesses, minor ones, major ones, for anything and everything you need, to we are focusing all of our worship on one god, and that is not just the sun, it's the disk of the sun, so literally the circle of the sun that you see in the sky.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
I get it though, because I can sure see it.
Yep, it's right there.
Yeah.
It gives you life.
Yeah, I'm warmer now because it's out.
Yeah.
AN has a question here. Do people still explore for lost cities, or have satellites rendered that obsolete?
Satellites have given us more cities to explore. Because thanks to the magic and wonder of technology, and specifically LiDAR in places like, Guatemala, cities have come out of the woodwork, come out of the rainforest, that we have not been able to see because they were covered with rainforest.
So cool.
So there are now more cities to explore.
Well, and I imagine looking somewhere like the Valley of the Pharaohs, too. If you had that before, you could maybe not see hidden things, but see certain.
The technology really depends on the geology. So LiDAR is really great for getting rid of like trees and foliage and like looking through the trees. So it's perfect for anything in a rainforest or just like a heavily forested area, because it'll just remove the trees and you can see what's under them. With Egypt, it's a very rocky place, so you need different kinds of radar usually. GPR can usually work, ground penetrating radar.
Nicole, you don't have much coverage here, I would say, in terms of trees and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you're an open book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Anything cool here?
We got mines. Mines were big for ancient Egypt. Got to mine that gold.
I just opened up 3 mines because it told me to do 2, and it has not acknowledged.
All right,
my
slow
2.
down, Gimli.
Okay.
Down 3 mines.
This mine has no workers.
I think we can find some. Sewerface wants to know, how do you imagine future archaeologists making sense of this era? So if someone investigating our culture, looks at in the way that we look at ancient Egypt.
That's a great question, and that's something that current archaeologists are actively thinking and talking about. Like what is going to be, what's going to be the sort of lasting historical impact archaeologically, and as far as material culture goes, so that's like objects. And it's going to be a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
A lot of plastic.
In our brains mostly.
Concrete has a very interesting way of falling apart, so it's going to be interesting to see what modern buildings and parts of cities are going to last for centuries.
Are there any perceptions that we had about ancient Egypt, say, even 50 years ago to 100 years ago, that now we've re-examined with new evidence and we've said, oh, we had it wrong at first?
Yeah, a lot of it actually, because a lot of it, or a lot of the sort of initial discoveries and studies of Egypt were done, 200-ish years ago by predominantly European scholars. So that Eurocentric thinking really heavily influenced how they were making their conclusions about things that they were finding and that they were seeing, and how they were sort of filling in the blanks for any unknowns on the timeline so a lot of that has actually been thankfully revised in recent decades thanks to ongoing scholarship. And back to Hatshepsut, that's a perfect example of that, because for a very long time people just sort of assumed that the reason why a lot of her specific monuments and her mortuary temple had been sort of destroyed was because she had been a wicked stepmother and stole the throne from her poor innocent little stepson.
So someone was trying to eradicate her memory.
And because she was a woman who dared to be king, she was erased from history. And actually it was not like that at all.
Was there ever a point where power was successfully passed from a woman to another female descendant?
Not in ancient Egyptian history.
Oh, okay. Oh.
It was very patriarchal.
Yeah.
Not a good look, ancient Egypt. Not a good look.
Thank you, Yoali.
Yeah, thank you.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, you'll
appreciate
that.
Sorry for mispronouncing your name if I did.
But we appreciate you.
Appreciate you, thank you. And has a question. We know about the more serious stuff about the ancient world. Do we know about the things they did for fun? Maybe not the military.
Yeah.
Might. Unless that was fun for them. It probably was for that guy.
I mean, soldiers played games too.
Yeah.
No, ancient people love to have fun. They like to have fun. They like to play games. One of the things I always say on my TikTok is that, we humans, we have been like this the entire time. So all the stuff that we like doing today, people in the past like doing too. They just, did it in a slightly different way.
The old stick and hoop.
Or instead of playing computer games or video games, they played dice games. And we have the actual game pieces. They had a lot of dice games that they like to play.
What did their dice what did a die look like? Was it hieroglyphics on it, or
no? It is literally
a
dice,
for a number?
like a cube with dots on the side for numbers.
Cool. Something like entertainment, organized entertainment,
Yeah.
as in we're putting on a theater production and people, the people can come see this. Was that something that existed?
In ancient Egypt, I don't think so. I don't know for sure. I don't think so, but I mean, they had musicians, they had performers and stuff like that, so there would be performances and entertainment. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Just unlocked it.
Yeah, that was perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
And for this, it's pretty much just going to be a juggler.
Jugglers.
Yeah.
The juggler needs a venue in which to perform, the smallest of which is called a booth.
Intersection.
Build a booth on the corner of a road.
Oh,
You're flying.
board games, ancient Egyptian board games that you can learn and play today. Senet.
Oh, yeah, I know Senate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I'm familiar with the Senate, but I don't know.
Or Senet. Senet.
I don't know this game.
It's really cute, simple, very fun.
You mentioned their partnerships with Mesopotamia and then
Yeah.
ostriches from Nubia. So I was just curious, what trade was like for Egypt.
Oh, people be trading. Everybody was trading with
good look.
everybody. Yeah, no, I think I said it earlier, but the ancient world was very cosmopolitan, very connected, very global, considering, the limits of the world at that time. Everybody was trading with everybody.
What did they trade? What kind of items?
Everything. So, luxury goods, ivory, ostriches, ostrich feathers, frankincense, ebony, animal skins all came from further south in Africa. So that's where the Egyptians got those from. Things like certain spices and minerals came from places as far away as Afghanistan. That's where lapis lazuli comes from. And then a little bit later down the timeline, everybody was getting amber from up northern Europe, up in the Baltics.
I love your city, Nicole.
I could only have done this with you guys.
Thanks so much for joining us. Where can people find your work online?
I'm on TikTok and Instagram as Annalise the Archaeologist, and also on Blue Sky if you want to hang out with other cool archaeologists. And then you can see me in real life when I am leading trips to exotic locations like Egypt with Trova Trip.
So cool.
So
That's
cool.
so cool. So check out Annalie's work, and you can find us on PBS SoCal, and they can support us, right, Nicole?
Yeah, pbssocal.org/gamer. You can donate. Any amount is just...
it helps.
It's a game changer for us. And we do this for you and because of you, and we really appreciate you. So find us on Instagram, find us on TikTok, find us on YouTube on Fridays with new content. And thank you.
All right, well, let's go enjoy history elsewhere.
Yeah. Modern history.
Modern history, yes. In the making. Yeah. See you next week.